Since I began advocating for my father and the release of other church leaders detained around a month ago, my family has also experienced transnational repression. A week after we began speaking out on my father's detention, my mother received a threatening phone call from someone impersonating a U.S. federal agent. I have also been watched and followed in Washington, D.C. as I met with friends and mentors who have been helping me. I'm sometimes indeed fearful. After all, I know that I seek to expose and hold account the second most powerful country in the world. Yet as a Christian, I believe that we are asked to take courage and speak truth, and that God who created heaven and earth will stand by our side. Similarly, I urge the leaders here today to take similar courage, to speak, to use the authority entrusted into your hands, and to not forget us. Speak our names, Pastor Ezra Jin, Pastor Gao Yinjia, Pastor Wang Lin, Pastor In Huibin, and all the leaders of Zion Church in China, and others as well. Pastor Gao Quanfu of Light of Zion Church in Xi'an, Pastor Wang Yi of Early Rain Covenant Church, Elder Zhang Chunlei of Guiyang Ren'ai Reformed Church, and many others. Do not signal defeat and acceptance of this trampling of human rights with your silence. We are praying for the full release of all Zion imprisoned church leaders today, and despite not knowing why this is happening and experiencing despair of seeing my father and others wrongfully imprisoned, I can draw strength in knowing that my God is a good God, and even in these bleakest moments, might be used for bigger things, and our work is not in vain. My father wrote in a letter from prison just a week ago that God has indeed used his power to uphold us. I believe that God is also testing us during this time like refining silver, painful, but full of love. But God will not abandon us.
General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party, leader of the world's largest atheistic state, would force his own people to think otherwise. He would have the Chinese people believe that religious freedom is not for them, that religion itself is not for them, because the party that he leads are terrified of religious faith. They fear and they're scared of any moral or spiritual authority outside the control of the party, and they punish worship of anyone but Xi Jinping. Instead, the Chinese Communist Party wants to take control over heart, mind, and spirit of each citizen of China. In one particularly ludicrous yet equally insidious example, in September, the Cyberspace Administration of China launched a 2-month Clear and Bright campaign that polices pessimism and negative emotions, among other thought crimes. I mean, this is theater of the absurd. It's also totalitarianism, pure and simple, and totalitarian governments cannot abide by freedom of religion or belief. And yet they cannot extinguish it. The church, the believers, the Uyghurs, the Falun Gong practitioners, the Tibetan Buddhists, all of them redouble their efforts to move forward in their faith tradition, and this commission and this Congress and our country and so many others do everything we can to help.
Xi Jinping came to power, he has pushed an aggressive agenda to roll back what little space for independent religion once existed and to assert CCP dominance over all aspects of religious life. Christian pastors are prosecuted for fraud, for accepting charity. Uyghur Muslims are punished for reading the Quran at home. Tibetan Buddhists are targeted for honoring the Dalai Lama. Falun Gong practitioners are tortured for peaceful meditation the party cannot control. Across China, the party has closed churches, imprisoned pastors and priests, and ordered the removal of Islamic and Tibetan Buddhist symbols from buildings. We're here today because the right to believe, according to one's own conscience, is not a privilege government may grant or withhold. It is a universal human right, central to human dignity and human flourishing. We now know that religious freedom is a critical element in societies that are stable and prosperous. Our own history, from the earliest colonies to the First Amendment, reflects a simple truth. Societies are freer, fairer, and more stable when people are free to worship, to practice their faith, and to live, speak, and act according to their beliefs. The CCP fears the power of faith because it is a source of values and moral authority it cannot control. That is why it demands that crosses come down and portraits of Xi Jinping go up. It is why Catholic priests must preach party slogans alongside sacred texts. It is why so many religious leaders and religious believers are jailed. To the CCP, faith is not just a challenge, it is an existential threat to its grip on power and why it must be controlled or
China is
destroyed.
at war with faith, and it's at war with us. We should unequivocally and clearly be on the side of their opponents, and we should stand clearly with them. I think it's also quite clear that China fears religious freedom far more than they fear our aircraft carriers or our nuclear weapons. They're far more concerned. They spend billions of dollars annually harassing everybody up and down this line here. I've just finished a book up that's at the publishers on China's war on faith. They treat everybody the same. You will either be subdued to us or we're going to eliminate you. You choose, but it's one of the two. And Xi Jinping is God, not whoever you're believing in. And the stories are very, very consistent on this. So I look at religious freedom, honestly, as our greatest weapon in this battle that we're in today. And China's weakness is their governance.